Hello again, I'm Ernest. Let's settle for the details now. There's anger among some Nigerians here in Ghana after an extension of the residence of the Nigerian High Commissioner meant to house some staff of the commission was demolished last Friday night. Now, here are some reactions from the demolition scene Saturday morning.
Yeah, there was no one police here. I was here one day. No one police here. I was here when our ambassador was almost killed here. There was no one police.
Nigeria life matter. Nigeria life matter. Nigeria life matter.
Look at it. If this can be done to our presidency, in this country, if it can be done to our presidency, how much are we ordinary citizens? Hey. That means we are not safe. We didn't come to make trouble. We are not safe. For more than how many hours you have been calling? We've been calling the police. Nobody. Please be careful. Nobody should injure themselves. Be careful. Be careful.
The thing falls on them.
Be careful.
Nigeria life matter in Ghana. Nigeria life matter in Ghana.
Of course.
We are human beings.
That's right.
We can't breathe.
That's right.
We are on our legs.
We are suffering.
If this thing can be done to our High Commission resident, this is Nigeria.
Overnight.
The woman life is in danger.
Right.
The woman life is in danger all over the world. America, Europe, our High Commission life is in danger. Please, we can't breathe.
If you are doing a legal thing, why should you come in the middle of the night?
Shared on Saturday morning, JoyNews editor Fred Smith was at the scene earlier and interacted with some angry Nigerians. Listen.
This is not Ghana that I know. We are actually hoping to attack if this continues. Somebody who came with ammunition, gun, precisely what I heard, and we was threatening the security officers, and not anybody that you can say is just a normal person. He's an intruder. Please, the authorities should not allow this into life, because we Nigerians are going to allow this to go scot-free. Sincerely, if this is going to end the relationship between Nigeria and Ghana, I think we are ready for it. Thank you very much.
Our government should not go to sleep with this kind of disgrace. This is not just national disgrace, this is an international disgrace for us. In fact, if Nigeria can be treated like this in Ghana, Ghana that we hold so much in our heart, Ghana that our government has helped so much with our resources and everything, I don't think that we deserve this kind of treatment. And as I'm talking to you now, since I came here more than 2 hours, I haven't seen any security put here to protect the woman who is our acting High Commissioner. The gate has been pulled down, no security. What would the woman do? I don't know. This is happening like it's like a movie, but it is real. And I want our government to do something to rise up to this occasion, because we cannot continue to take this insult. If this thing continues like this, we have a country. Ghanaian High Commission is at a very choice place in Abuja.
The worst part of it is that we have police headquarters here, which is just 5 minutes drive to this place. And this community is a community that is so protected. If there is a whistle here, you get the police running down. This thing was done for in 1 hour. A good 1 hour, they were destroying this thing, and there was nobody that come to protect us. So we Nigerians, we don't feel safe. I have not been to my house. I don't feel safe. I have nowhere to go. If bulldozers can come and pull down our High Commission like this, then who am I? They could just take me and kill me on the street or cut my neck. This is how we are feeling right now. And I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny because we can't do this to Ghana people. God bless you. I don't want to talk more.
And now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the leadership of the Nigerian Union of Traders Association here in Ghana, and the Nigerian government have all issued statements condemning the act. The government of Ghana has begun investigations into the matter to fish out persons behind the demolition exercise. I'm joined in the studio by JoyNews editor Fred Smith for more on this. Fred, you were on the grounds. Tell us more about this structure we are seeing in terms of its capacity, how big or small?
Well, it's a 3-bedroom apartment, 1 floor, 3-bedroom apartment. Okay. We have 4 of them built together. Okay. So 12 bedroom apartment, but separated into 3 bedrooms each, just that they are joined, and so you have that kind of structure built together. And it was meant to house the diplomats who come in from Nigeria and other places to do business or anything with the Nigerian High Commission in Ghana, as well as some of the staff who are at this High Commission.
Where exactly is this located? Well,
this is located at Ridge. It's not too far from the Ghana Institute of Journalism or the British High Commission. However, it's within a certain loop. If you know the Snake Guest House around it, it's in a certain loop, so it's very difficult to locate where this particular building is. Not many people use that route. It leads you into a cul-de-sac where the Snake Guest House is.
So this is not the residence of the commissioner exactly, but if you want, an annex to the residency.
Indeed, the residence of the High Commissioner has this extension. Okay, so it is this extension where the new building, which was demolished, has been put up, was put up.
And we understand that the people who carried out the demolition are claiming the land belongs to them.
Yes, that's the claim, and according to those who came in, they mentioned Glyco, but unfortunately we've not been able to reach Glyco for their side of the story. But according to them, the matter came up and they had to go to the police headquarters to discuss the issue. And according to them, the claimants brought some documentation to prove that they own the land, but they're saying that the date on it shows 2017. They acquired it in 2017, but the Nigerian High Commission is saying they acquired this in the 1960s, and so they disagree with them, and they were expecting that this matter will end up in court, but they just woke up on Friday night. These persons came there with bulldozer, broke the gate and the walls and entered the facility wielding weapons and kept everybody at bay and destroyed the building. I saw also a wall that has been freshly built. You know, it's supposed to be a wall that is existing, but I saw a fresh construction there. And I was told that a week today, last week Monday, there was another attempt to break into the facility. They succeeded in breaking the walls, but they could not access the main building to demolish. And on Friday night, around 10:30 p.m., the persons came in again with weapons and then succeeded in entering the facility. In fact, the facility is such that once you enter, you have access to the Nigerian High Commissioner's residence.
And that is really a serious situation there. But I had one of them also tell you that they wrote to the government of Ghana expecting a response, but they didn't get any response. And so for them, it comes as a surprise that this action will go on without the government of Ghana communicating in any way. Is that a case with your interaction?
Yes, that's the claim they made, but we don't know the full extent of the engagement with the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Ghana. And so our understanding is that the Nigerian government has currently dispatched a team of officials from Nigeria. They're heading to Ghana right now to have a conversation with our government on this matter. We do also understand that the Nigerian president is expected to make a statement on this issue later in the day. And so the Foreign Affairs Ministry, for instance, they had an event at 12 o'clock that has been shifted to 10 o'clock so they can make time for this engagement with their counterparts from Nigeria.
And this has been widely reported within the sub-region and also internationally. What has been the reaction from within the region, even in Ghana and globally as this has happened?
Well, we are seeing statements mainly from the Nigerian trade associations who are issuing threats as well. We have the House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee chairman also issuing a statement, also issuing threats. In fact, we've heard from some Nigerians themselves also asking their government to cut ties with Ghana if such a thing could be going on. Don't forget that for 1 year, some Nigerian shops in Ghana have been under lock and key because they did not meet the requirements to operate here in Ghana. And the Nigerians have always disagreed with Ghana on this matter. And so they think that the government of Ghana is behind this, trying to do so. But it's very important for our government to make this clear, because when I went there, I found out, in fact, the people themselves told me that it's an individual who is claiming ownership of the land and not the government per se. And you see from the tone of the Foreign Affairs Minister's statement, it's a condemnation of the act. It doesn't indicate government involvement in any way. Their challenge, though, is the fact that the police headquarters is less than 5 minutes away, but for so many hours. In fact, this happened at night, 10:30 p.m. till I went there around 10 a.m. There was still no police presence there.
Thank you very much, First Smith. And it's important that government deals with this so it doesn't escalate into some form of a bilateral role. You're watching News Desk with me, Ernest Menu. And let's talk some politics now. This is your election headquarters. Now, polling station women organizer for the Okaikwe constituency, Dakwa Newman, who unseated incumbent Member of Parliament Ahmed Arthur in Saturday's NPP primaries, says her victory is an indication of the NPP retaining the constituency seat come December in the general elections. Dakwa Newman won the election with 440 votes. Incumbent Ahmed Arthur had 327 votes cast for him, and the chairman of the National Theatre Board, Nana Fredua Ajimano-Friata, had only 21 votes. The Prince of Peace School Polling Center saw supporters of the winner jubilating even before the final results were declared by the Electoral Commission. My colleague Hano Dame was there and has the rest of the story.
791 delegates had a choice to make this morning, either to keep the incumbent Ahmed Arthur or to make a choice between Dakwa Newman and Nana Fredua Ajimano-Friata. At the end of it all, they decided on the founder of a humanitarian NGO, DNF, Dakwa Newman.
I appreciate everything everybody has done, and I wouldn't let anybody down. This is a win for NPP. It's not a win just for me. We are all going to work together to ensure that we retain this seat come December 2020. So it's a win for us all, and congratulations to the party at large.
But before then, there were some issues when we went to some of the polling centers.
He's even not aware of this provision, but someone has come to cast the ballot on his behalf. You see what I'm talking about? They went there, they followed all protocol procedures, including the checking of everything. They were okay.
We are at the Kaneshi polling center, and even though the space here is so big, I see that a lot of them are crammed up together there. There's no social distancing being observed. The police officer have just gone to tell them to probably ensure that they are observing the protocols, but nothing seems to be done. We will try and talk to them to find out how this matter will be resolved.
There was a consensus, the parties yesterday, that there is proxy. But this morning, when the one who's supposed to come and cast the proxy came, they said the other agencies that they're not going to allow, but we've been able to also solve that particular issue. One
of your executives just said that this issue has been resolved. Are you satisfied?
I'm not satisfied. And in fact, we raised concern officially.
In some of the centers we visited, with regards to coronavirus, we realized that social distancing was highly practiced. However, the absence of Veronica buckets were very clear. How will you rate the precautionary measures that have been put in place here?
70%, because there's no Veronica bucket to wash our hands. So it will be 70%. Although we have the sanitizer, and they provided us with nose masks too, so we are okay.
One of the delegates had an advice for the Electoral Commission ahead of the December elections with regards to safety protocols.
I believe if we can improve on this, it will be better. So that the general election, when I look around, I don't see any washing bucket around, nothing. But the general one, we have to make sure that at least this place is a little bit big. So we should have the Veronica bucket, so that the moment you enter the gate, you wash your hand before you come in. Before you enter, we should have a security in the gate who can tell you that wash your hand, put your nose mask and do this, do that. I think it's better. And look, they are finished and they are sitting down, but they are forgetting themselves that this virus is around. So the general election, you have to make sure that the moment you finish voting, you have to go.
Some of you are not wearing masks. No social distance. No mask.
So you can hear that the divisional police commander is asking the delegates to go home because they are not observing the protocols.
Let's do some analysis on what happened over the weekend. Joining us live is Dr. Amachi Boateng of the KNUST and David Sopokwansa, who is the NPP parliamentary candidate elect for the Imparso constituency. He contested against Seth Champon, who is on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. Such a heavyweight. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on News Desk. Let me start with you, Mr. Ansah. Congratulations there, but what worked for you?
I think first of all, I would want to give thanks to God. There's a God factor, and anywhere, any opportunity I get, I would want to drum home that message that has been good to us. He delivered this victory, and we are grateful to God. I would also want to thank the delegates, those who voted for me massively, those who voted and those who did not. The NPP is victorious. It's instructed that we all come together and forge ahead, ensuring that we win the next election. So, Roland.
Yes, Ernest here, but the man you unseated, literally, is such a heavyweight. I'm wondering what message you put across to the delegates that made them sway in your direction.
I mean, it borders on the. First of all, I mean, for me, I have believed that in campaign, it's not just about your money or your message, but the machinery you put on the ground is very, very key. I think that was the advantage that we had. We had a very strong campaign team that knew the ground, that was not relying on lip service. We invested heavily in research just to understand the dynamics and the kind of change that people expect. And I think that led to the victory. So I would want to use this platform to say a big thank you to my campaign team. I think they did the magic. They did the magic, and I am grateful to them.
And hold on for me, Mr. Ansah. I'll come to you shortly to find out if you have the support of the outgoing member of parliament, because that is very crucial for your campaign going forward. And indeed, when you enter parliament, that's if you're voted for come December. But let me go to Dr. Amachi Boateng, who is also on Zoom with us. Doc, thank you very much for joining us here on News Desk. We have as many as 41 MPs losing their seats. That definitely has consequence for Parliament, even as they wrap up the 7th Parliament and going into next year for the 8th Parliament. There are some who have said that is why it is necessary that some people are not competed. But we are in a democracy and elections are necessary. Is there a middle ground to address this issue?
Thank you for the opportunity, and let me say good morning to your listeners. Actually, that is the challenge that our system faces. What really pertains in established democracies is that you don't have this number of people during the 4-year round trying to get a place in the legislature. It's not necessarily been the case. You have instances in several other democracies with a particular reference to that of the United States, where members of parliament are not necessarily seen in the constituencies. And even people make comments to that effect. I do recall the case of one, Ted Kennedy, the late Ted Kennedy. He definitely was accused of not sort of, seen in the constituencies until the time was due for elections. But there's something that I call stability in the party in respect of this issue. You don't have everybody, every 4-year round trying to get a place in the parliament the way we are experiencing here in Ghana. And I'd like to believe that, it will be a similar situation in many other, new democracies. So getting a middle ground is going to be difficult unless the party itself can engage in a dialogue and come out with a generalized understanding. And I think this sort of understanding will have to, emanate from the grassroots. And if they are able to get some such understanding to really guide those who want to come in, how they should come in, who is to be contested and why, then definitely the party would have made some, covered some grounds in respect of this issue. Otherwise, the way things are happening might even get off hand, given the fact that alternative opportunities for, safe employment opportunities seem not to be available. I'd like to believe that is one of the factors. Okay. Given what really happens, people sell property, houses to go through these parliamentary primaries, and they do that definitely with the hope of, making good if they should get, to parliament. So we have a challenge there. I think economic factors. Do I hear you say it would be ideal for people to build their career, to have some good economic standing before they even venture into frontline politics? Do I hear you say that? That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that currently the sort of turnover of parliamentary members of parliament appear to be getting out of hand. And like we just witnessing, over 40, incumbents have lost their seats. Yeah. What are implications? But to begin with, to interrogate even how they did lose their seats, we want to, simply be candid with the situation on the ground. The gentleman himself did speak to the fact that it's not only money that, if you deploy those resources and your message alone, then he speaks to what he called the machinery that he possibly might have, put in place to work for him. Why did he add money? Why did he add money? If I'm going to work for my country, I'd like to serve in the parliament. Why should I have to pay money to anybody? And we hear a lot of things did change hands. Very expensive equipment and large amount of money also changing hands. So coming to terms with what really happens to bring about change. So why did those incumbent people lose? Is it because they couldn't pay, as much money as possible? Or it is what has come to be known as their work, in the constituencies, unsatisfactory? What do we mean by work in the constituencies? What exactly is that? And as we wrap up on this, Dr. Amachi, could it be because of how we have perceived and actually, carry out the role of the member of parliament at the various constituencies, so that you would have a fine brain, very committed to the work of the House, contributing to lawmaking, which is, the primary duty of our members of parliament, but because they are unable to do the other things, and because they are also perceived as agents of change or development, at the district level, then that will be a challenge. Could that be the reason why we're seeing the attrition rate increase so much? I think that is it, and there's confusion with regard to the work they are supposed to do in the constituencies. I think there's confusion there. We should come clear with the main functions of the executive the representative of the executives in the districts, in the constituencies. And then we should also come clear with what the members of parliament are supposed to do. Essentially, Ghana is structured in such a way that, they are not the people who dispense money to bring about, a development in the country, in the districts, in the villages, in the towns. They are not necessarily those agents. So if even during their own campaigns, they go out and make promises, to what extent are we able to hold them accountable, given that the political executive is there, the political executive is the controller of the public purse, and is the one that really, every now and then, goes out, sends the budget to the parliament to get it approved, and then is supposed to roll out the various programs.
Yeah.
If we see these members of parliament as facilitators, as people who should lobby, I think we should come clear with that. And then, in a way, also they will also come to those terms and simply proceed. In the absence of that, what really are the factors that bring about these changes? Is it the money they pay? They pay to the delegates. Is it
and definitely
buy for them fridges? I hear also vehicles.
A lot of things happening over the weekend, Dr. Amachi. Thank you very much. And the MPs themselves would have, some role to play if this is to change. But let me quickly wrap up with Davis Opoku-Ansah, who is now the candidate-elect for Empire. So if you are still with us on the line, I just want to know if you have the support of the outgoing Member of Parliament, Seth Champon, and what that will mean for your campaign.
I come to that. Just to correct some impression that Dr. Amachi created.
Okay.
My reference to money is not one to induce the delegates. Certainly, in every election, you need money. I mean, you move with vehicles, you need to buy water, you need to buy food, and all of that. So my stressing on the money bit was not one to induce delegates. I'm sure that there are several places where money exchanged hands, but people still went ahead and lost. I mean, prior to this primaries, we also saw what happened in some other constituencies where even vehicles were packed, but those candidates still lost. So I'm sure that the greatest consideration for electing people to represent us, for me, has not always been money. It's about what the belief that people have in you. So just to correct that impression. Secondly, I've spoken to my Member of Parliament. He's assured me, given me his fullest assurance that he's going to support the campaign, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also very humbled and willing to learn from his chief and the party leadership in the constituency. Just around a few.
And we wish you all the best as you start your campaign for the December polls. That is the MPB candidates for Impresso, Davis Opoku and Sada, joining us here on News Desk.